Have you ever looked around and wondered, is this really how I imagined the later years of my life? I used to ask myself that almost every morning after I moved into the nursing home. You see, I'm 82 now, and if there's one thing I have learned the hard way, it's that not every decision that's meant to make life easier ends up making it better. I didn't always feel this way. When I first made the move, it seemed like the smart thing to do. My knees were starting to give me trouble. I had stopped driving at night. My children were busy with their own lives, and I didn't want to burden anyone. Everyone around me said, "This will be good for you. You will be safe. You will have help whenever you need it." And that part was true. I had all the help I could ask for. But I lost something I didn't even realize was so valuable until it was gone: my independence, my sense of purpose, and my identity. Now, don't get me wrong, nursing homes are not evil places. The staff here work hard, they care for you. There are activities, meals are served on time, medications are managed. It's clean, organized, structured. But what no one tells you is how it feels to have your life structured around someone else's schedule, to be told when to eat, when to shower, even when to turn off your lights. And for someone who spent 8 decades living on her own terms, that's not just uncomfortable, it's heartbreaking. I used to wake up and make my own cup of tea, sit by the window and watch the sun rise. Some mornings I'd walk around the garden barefoot, feeling the dew on the grass. That tiny ritual was mine. Now, there are no gardens to walk barefoot, just cemented courtyards with benches. And my morning tea, it arrives on a tray, lukewarm, with a biscuit I didn't ask for. The real regret didn't hit me all at once. It was slow, it was subtle, like watching paint fade off an old photograph. One day, I realized I hadn't spoken to my neighbor in 2 weeks. The next, I noticed I had stopped dressing up in the morning. I started waiting for someone to visit instead of planning my own day. My world became smaller, quieter, and no one warned me that sometimes comfort comes at the cost of joy. If you are watching this and you are somewhere between thinking about moving into a nursing home or someone is gently suggesting it to you, I want you to hear me. Pause and think. Really think, not just about safety or convenience, but about your spirit, about what makes you feel alive. Ask yourself, am I moving here because I want to, or because I feel like I have no other option? One of the hardest things to admit is that I stopped fighting for what I wanted. I thought it was time to give in, to slow down, to let others make choices for me. But aging doesn't mean surrendering your freedom. In fact, these years can be some of the most powerful and fulfilling if you hold on to the parts of life that still light you up. You see, we spend our entire lives building routines, habits, friendships, hobbies. And when you move into a place where none of those things exist and you're expected to start over, well, that's not easy at 82. Most days, I miss the sound of my own kitchen, the way my favorite chair creaked, even the quiet hum of the ceiling fan that rocked me to sleep. There's no replacement for the comfort of your own space. And yet, the world around us keeps pushing this idea that as we get older, we are supposed to let go. Let go of driving, let go of cooking, let go of living alone. But I wish someone had told me that letting go isn't always freedom. It can be a kind of loss, a loss that feels small at first but grows heavier each day. I remember my neighbor. He was 82, still lives in the little house he and her late husband built together. She was someone coming twice a week to help clean and bring groceries. But everything else she manages. She tends to her rose bushes every morning, paints in the afternoon, talks to her grandchildren on video calls in the evenings. She once told me, as long as I can do one thing for myself each day, I know I'm still living. That stayed with me. It's not always about being able to do everything. It's about holding on to something that keeps you going. That might be reading your favorite book, taking a walk, making your bed, or just watching the birds flutter outside your window. Those little freedoms add up. They remind you that you are still in control, that your life is still yours. Of course, there are circumstances where a nursing home is truly the safest, most sensible choice. Health conditions, memory loss, and other challenges can make independent living risky. And for those situations, we need compassionate, respectful care options. But for many of us, especially those of us still clear minded, mobile, and yearning for more, there are better ways to age. You don't have to give up your home just because the world thinks you have reached the age where you should. You don't have to stop trying new things. You don't have to accept isolation or routine as your new normal. Life doesn't end after 70 or 80 or, for that sake, even 90. It simply shifts, and how we respond to that shift can make all the difference. There are options that don't include four beige walls and a hallway filled with silence, co living with friends, hiring part time help at home, downsizing to a smaller apartment in a familiar neighborhood, living with family who truly wants you there. It's not always easy, but it is worth thinking about making any permanent decisions. We often underestimate just how much our surroundings affect our mental health, our motivation, and our sense of identity. When we lose control of our environment, we start to lose parts of ourselves. I didn't understand that when I first moved in here, but now I do. And that's what I want to share with you, so you don't have to learn it the hard way like I did. You know, when you live in a place like this for long enough, you start to notice something strange. Everyone's alive, but very few are really living. People sit in chairs for hours, staring at the same walls, the same TV shows, waiting for the next meal bell like school kids. No one talks about dreams or plans anymore, just pills, doctor visits, and who's passed on recently. It's like the world expects us to be done. But I'm not done, and I don't think you are either. I miss the small choices, like deciding to make pancakes just because I felt like it, or stepping out for a walk without signing a form. Those little decisions gave me joy. Now everything requires permission, and slowly your confidence shrinks. You stop asking, you stop wanting. That's the real danger. Not aging, but losing the will to keep choosing for yourself. And the truth is, it doesn't take much to keep that spark alive. I met a woman here, Linda, 79 and sharp as ever. She reads a new book every week. That's her way of traveling, exploring, learning. She told me, if I stop feeding my mind, what's left? That inspired me. I started writing again. Just little thoughts, poems, memories. Something that reminds me I still have something to say. See, it's not about grand gestures or big changes. It's about staying connected to yourself, to the things that bring you meaning. That might be writing, gardening, music, puzzles, painting, or just calling your friend every morning for a chat. But you have to protect that connection fiercely because once it slips away, it's hard to get it back. Another thing no one warns you about, the loneliness. Even in a place full of people, it can be so quiet. I thought I'd have friends here. I really did. But most people stay in their rooms or they don't talk much anymore. And that silence can weigh on you. That's why I always tell people, if you have even one person in your life who still listens, who still cares, hold on to that. Keep calling them, keep inviting them in. Don't wait for the loneliness to creep in and settle. I have come to believe that growing older isn't about giving things up, it's about holding tight to what truly matters. Because the world might try to box us in, but we don't have to stay in that box. Sometimes I sit by the window and wonder what would have happened if I'd stayed in my home just a little longer, maybe brought in a bit of help, asked my daughter to visit more often, maybe even joined a senior group nearby. I didn't need to give up everything. I just needed a little support, but I was too afraid to ask. And that's something we don't talk about enough. Fear. The fear of falling, of being a burden, of something going wrong. But fear shouldn't be the reason we give up our freedom. It should be the reason we make smarter choices for ourselves, not ones made out of pressure or guilt. It's not too late, not for you. If you're still in your home, still making your own coffee, still choosing how you spend your day, hold on to that. Strengthen it. Call a neighbor. Ask for help if you need it. But don't hand over your life just because the world expects you to. You are not too old to matter. You are not too late to change course. And you are certainly not finished. If my story makes you pause and think, good. That's all I hoped for. Maybe it'll help you make a different choice than I did. One that feels right and not just safe. And if this resonated with you, please share your thoughts below. I'd love to hear your story too. Give this video a like if it helped you in any way, and subscribe if you want more honest conversations like this. Let's remind each other we are still here, still living, and still growing. Here's to living life fully, boldly, and on your terms, always. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.